let me tell you right now, that was the best Spider-Man movie ever. And I'll tell you this, is my second favorite film of the year, right up there with Captain Marvel. Is my second favorite movie of all time, once again, right up there with Captain Marvel. And it is by far the craziest film I have ever seen. And not because of the film itself, but mostly because of what happens in the end. And, you know, I'm going to talk about spoilers in this video too, but this first section is going to be non-spoiler. So, I was worried about this film. And the reason why is because, you know, if you're on my Spider-Man 101 channel, then, you know, you don't know that I made this video. But on my main channel, I put my fears of for Spider-Man Far From Home. My biggest fear of Spider-Man Far From Home. And it was basically that I thought, like, from what they were presenting in the trailers, I thought it was just going to be Iron Kid copes with death. That's what I thought it was going to be. Because, you know, they're really pushing that in the trailers. But these trailers must have been edited by Mysterio himself. Because this movie is the greatest Spider-Man film I have ever seen. I literally cannot figure out, like, there is no other way I would say, like, there's no other way I would do this film. This film was perfect. Perfectly done. And just everything I wanted to see. The relationship between Peter and Michelle was all there. I bought into it the whole time. The high school element is 100% there. There was not a single moment where I fell out of it and thought it wasn't there. Mysterio was better than the Vulture, actually, which I'm kind of shocked about. Is he on Dr. Octopus levels? I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing the film again on Thursday, so, you know, I'll see then. But right now, he's like past Vulture, but not really at Doc Ock yet. The MCU element, like I said, like the first one, it was sprinkled in. Not done too much like the trailers presented. It was just sprinkled in, which I absolutely love. Happy being basically Spider-Man's butler now. That I really liked. Just the film was well written. There's a scene in this movie that I'll talk about in the spoiler section of this video. There are a couple scenes where I was just like, oh my god. This is really crazy. And I was like, I'm telling you right now, hear me right now. If you're scared, if you're a Spider-Man fan like me, and you had the same worries that they were going to turn this into Iron Kid copes with death, they do not do that. Do not be fooled by these trailers. Actually, it's because of these trailers that I'm not watching, like, after the first trailer, that's it. I'm not watching any more trailers for a film. Because of these trailers and how they dupe me into thinking one thing. So, overall, there's not much I could say without going into spoilers. So, I'm just gonna say, this movie's a 10 out of 10. I loved it. In terms of my favorite films of all time, it's right up there with Captain Marvel in second place. In terms of MCU films, I think it, once again, second place, right up there with Captain Marvel. In terms of Spider-Man films, it's the best one I've ever seen. Even topping films like Spider-Verse, it topped that. In terms of Disney releases, I didn't think we would get a better film than Aladdin or Toy Story 4, but this film came in as like, get out of my way. And once again, second place up there with Captain Marvel. Because Captain Marvel really topped everything this year, all the lists, but, you know, Spider-Man Far From Home is like following the trend. This movie was incredible. As a Spider-Man fan, and especially an MCU Spider-Man fan, this film, I was brought to tears at the end. Especially by what? 10 out of 10. I implore you, Go see this movie. Go see the. Trust me, they're not pulling an Iron Kid. He's not gonna be wearing the Iron Spider suit for majority of the film. He's not gonna be talking about, oh, I miss Tony Stark. Oh, I can't function without Tony Stark. No, they don't do that. It's all Spider-Man. Trust me, this is the most Spider-Man I have felt since Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. This is how great this film is. Go see this movie immediately. And now into the spoiler section. So, in terms of, I'm going to start with Peter and MJ's relationship. So, Peter and MJ's relationship, like, at the very start of the film, after the Marvel Studios logo comes up, it immediately starts off with Peter talking about his plan. Oh, I'm gonna go to Paris. I'm gonna walk around with her and take her to the top of the tower, and I'm gonna say like I like you, and then gonna present this necklace that I got for her based on her favorite thing. I forgot what it was. It was like black. It was black something. It looked like a black flower, because MJ has like this like kind of gothish type feel, which I didn't really get from Homecoming, which I was kind of surprised at first, but you get used to it over time. So I feel like their relationship was very well developed, and once again, Tom Holland and Zendaya have such good chemistry, and I was so relieved because I heard rumors before it came out that MJ was gonna be the daughter of Nick Fury, and I was like, no. And then I was like, oh, thank God they didn't do that. But yeah, it was done so well. And there is a love triangle, surprisingly, because this guy comes in. He's like trying to get with MJ too. He's like, hey, I'm gonna get with MJ. And so we see that, like, even in the scene where Peter's given like the shield suit that he has with like the spider eye goggles. When he's changing into that in front of the lady in the cabin, he even walks in, surprising, like, what? He probably saw him go in there and was like, oh, I'm gonna expose him. But he sees him with his pants down because he thinks like she's gonna give him like a what or something. And then he takes a picture and he's full on ready to show this to MJ. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna take this picture. I'm like, you know what, man? I know you like MJ. I see it. But you know what? I like MJ too. And she's got to know the truth. So, he goes there. Peter's like, no, I got to do something. And so he takes out the glasses that were given to him by, I forget who it was. It was, no, it was Fury. Fury gave him the glasses that Tony Stark left for him with the AI, which I don't know if I like this AI more than Karen, because like you could feel that Karen's presence was gone. Like I felt like I was hoping that they brought Karen back, but hopefully they will in the future. But as of now, Karen was in this film, which is kind of sad. If you don't remember Karen, Karen was Spider-Man's AI from Homecoming. But yeah, so he puts his glasses on. He's like, look, I gotta stop him from like, exposing, like showing this picture to MJ. And so his intention is to get the AI to delete the image. What does the AI do? It sends a tactical missile right down to try to destroy the guy, I forget his name, but to try to destroy the guy that has the photo. And so Peter now is in this awkward situation where he's like, oh, I have to stop this. And so he's like messing with the driver because, the driver was with S.H.I.E.L.D. the whole time because, Peter was just like, oh, Peter was to Fury like, oh, I can't do this. I'm on a field trip right now. If I go with you guys and they see me in the suit, people are gonna know that I'm Spider-Man. And Fury was like, all right. And then once he left, he was like, tomorrow, get that guy as a bus driver. We gotta get Peter, whether he likes it or not. But he's put in this awkward situation where he has to stop where he has to like have the bus like dodge these missiles coming at him. And then Peter does this whole thing where he jumps out of the bus, does this, and oh my god. But yeah, I got off track. I was going over the whole scene there, but it was just a really good scene. But especially the scene where not only the scene where, you know, they were walking on the bridge and, you know, MJ suspects that he's Spider-Man, but it was the scene at the end where Peter's defeated Mysterio. He's destroyed all the drones. Well, not destroyed all the drones, but he's, you know, requested all the drones to go away. And, you know, he's talking to MJ all beaten up. And, you know, they have their embrace, which that was where I felt their chemistry the most. In that scene and the scene where they're walking at night on the bridge. So their relationship was well handled. You know, Peter's relationship with Ned, you already know. Which Ned had a weird thing too, where he and Betty Brant were getting together. Now, here's the thing. On the Spider-Man app, I saw these images. I was like, wait, this can't be right. As I wait for it to load, I'm just gonna say, you know, him and Betty Brant had this like weird romantic relationship. By the end, it didn't even go anywhere because they ended up breaking up. And so, you know, that was a funny comic relief for it all. But the Mysterio element, Mysterio really surprised me in this film. Not because he turned out to be a bad guy, because we all knew, like, he was gonna be a bad guy. Like, he's a trickster. What do you expect? If you know Mysterio's character, then you know he's a trickster. But, you know, his whole plan and who he got on his entourage, it was insane. Because he got somebody from Iron Man 1, where Obadiah Stane was like, Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a bunch of scraps. Like, the guy that he yelled at, he was on his entourage. I forget what, but there was another character from the grand scope of the MCU who was also on his entourage. And it was insane. It was insane. Insane. But, and the illusion scenes. Mysterio's illusion scenes. Like, when he has, like, my boy Spidey seeing all these illusions. Not only was that visually stunning, but it was probably one of my favorite scenes in the film. Like, just the way that it was done, how it was handled. Like, it was great, and it's not something that we've seen in a Spider-Man film before, a scene like that. So, yeah, I absolutely love that scene, and I can't wait to see it again on the big screen. Spider-Man himself. Let me tell you something right now. Spider-Man in this, if you had suspicions that they were gonna, you know, keep foreshadowing the whole, you know, Tony's son, all that, it doesn't happen. Like, yeah, Tony leaves Peter with this stuff, like, in his untimely death. But it's not like, oh, I left this for you, my son. It's not like he was gonna read the note and then Tony Stark was gonna be the one to say, with great power comes great. No. It's just he's left stuff, but you know, that's really all the extent of it. And Peter has really grown up this time, cause in Homecoming, you know, he was like the, you know, he's like the kid, you know, he's having fun, but he doesn't get the full ramifications of being Spider-Man yet. In this one, he gets it. I can tell you right now, he gets it. Because when he was, not only when he was like fighting with Mysterio, because in that part of the movie, he was like in conflict with himself. He was like, you know, I want to live a normal life. I want to be on this vacation and tell MJ how I feel. But at the same time, with great power comes great responsibility, and I have to help Mysterio and Nick Fury and Maria Hill stop the Elementals. Which don't end up being real, by the way. They're all part of the illusion. But, like, Peter in this film has a greater sense of maturity that I think we've seen in a lot of him in the MCU, which I really admired. And when I saw him on the screen, I was like, man, this really is like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield did a fusion, ha! And it birthed Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Because when I was watching Spider-Man put that work in, when I was watching Peter put that work in, I saw them both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in one. I saw them both in him. And I was really happy with that. Especially during the scene where Peter's like, you know, like he's really getting beaten up. Like, he's trying the best he can to destroy these drones so he can get to Mysterio and stop him. And you could see, like, he's using his smarts, he's using his intellect, he's doing, like, all these things at the end, and man. And plus, his spider sense is actually working this time. I mean, like, in the film, they call it Peter Tingles, but don't worry about that. That's only a temporary name. But, yeah, I really enjoy Peter's arc in this because he really matured. He really matured. And one of the things that I was upset about is that, you know, Peter doesn't build his own suit. But in this film, he builds his own suits. He builds his own suit, without a doubt. And he uses his smarts as well to craft it. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that. I really, really enjoyed that. Going back to the whole Ned and Betty Brant thing. So the Spider-Man app has been up for a little bit. And, you know, I was seeing pictures like this on the Spider-Man app. And, you know, this one is fine, but, you know, they're still together. Oh my god. Pictures like this. Like, I was like, no, what are you doing? But, yeah, that whole thing was good too. And the final, you know, how every Spider-Man film, no matter which one it is, no matter which iteration it is, every Spider-Man film has that final swing. Besides Venom, because, you know, Venom isn't for that. But, you know, every Spider-Man film has their final swing. Even in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, he had his final swing to a certain degree. The only one where it didn't happen was Spider-Man 3 and Homecoming. But, I'm telling you, the final swing in this movie, and when they played the MCU Spider-Man theme, like, da 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 da, I was like, oh my god. I was on the verge of tears, people. That's not only, I think, my favorite final swing in this entire Spider-Man franchise, but it is my like, there are a lot of great scenes in this film, so when I say, like, something is my favorite scene, I'm like, but that one, I think, is my favorite scene in the film, because the final swing, I was taken back to, like, the Spider-Man 2 days, or even Spider-Man 1, where it was the first time ever where we saw him do the final swing, like, in a film. That's the type of time it took me back to. And honestly, like, I really, really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. And, you know, the high school element was there 100%. I never once thought that it was gone at all, because, you know, they don't spend a lot of time in high school in general, but they do go on a field trip, and, you know, it still has that feel. So, yeah, now that leads me to the end credit scenes. Or end credit scene, because the other one just has, well, I'll talk about that one too, but this first one needs to be talked about. So, as I'm sitting there in the chair, in absolute disbelief as to how great Spider-Man Far From Home was, the end credits scene comes on. We see Peter swinging with MJ in his arm, hanging on to him, kind of like Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst and how they did in the first film. You know, MJ is scared out of her mind. She's like, we're not doing that again. And all of a sudden, you know, because Peter was late to his date for MJ, so I guess the swing was the version of their date. So Peter is like, you know, I should probably go now, you know, because I can't be, you know, just standing here in the Spider-Man suit. So as soon as he jumps on a light pole, getting ready to swing away, we see a message on the screen. It's a newscast. And we see that not only did Mysterio film one last video before he died, and he spun the story to where he's like, Spider-Man was the enemy the whole time. He was trying to unleash the drones onto the world. He was trying to get you guys. He was trying to be like, he said to me that he was trying to be the next Iron Man for some reason. Like, and then he took the video of, and he somehow took a video of Peter, like, disabling the drones and having them go away with Edith or Ida, which was the AI in the glasses. And you know, Peter didn't see him recording. We didn't even see him recording. So, you know, this video is now being shown to all of New York City. And not only does J.K. Simmons, the very first J. Jonah Jameson, reprise his role in the MCU as J. Jonah Jameson, but he is, of course, running the Daily Bugle, obviously. And he is like, oh, but it gets better. It gets more interesting here. And here, watch this. And then Quinn Beck, Mysterio, his last words in the video spreads out through all of New York City. His words are, Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And shows a picture of him. Over all of New York City. All of New York City citizens are watching this. So MJ's there. I'm pretty sure every team member that's going to be on the Sinister Six knows who he is now. Like Scorpion, Shocker, Vulture already knows who he is. Future villains that we don't see. All the people, all of his classmates know who he is. All of his teachers know who he is. Everybody knows who Spider-Man is. And as we see the absolute terror and horrifying, like, look in Spider-Man's eyes, it cuts to black. Not only does this change everything about the Spider-Man franchise going forward, but this changes all the expectations I had for Spider-Man 3. I mean, like, my expectations for Spider-Man 3 was like, okay, like, the villains, like, if we get introduced to, like, a new villain in Spider-Man 3, like, that would be fine too, but I suggested that, you know, we could be getting something like the Sinister Six. But, this right here, I don't know what they're gonna do now. I don't know what they're gonna... They just John Wicked the Spider-Man franchise. I still cannot believe they just did that. Because that changes everything. That changes everything. And now I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with Spider-Man 3. Because before I was like, they could be doing something with the multiverse, or they could be doing something with the Spider-Verse, or they could be doing something with the Sinister Six. But no, I literally have no idea what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, unless Peter somehow convinces all of New York City, hey, I'm not Spider-Man. But I don't see that happening. This changes everything, people. This changes everything. And I could go into the possibilities of what could happen now in future videos. I'm going to talk about in future videos, because that will make for some great Spider-Man 101 content. You know, subscribe to that channel if you want some more MCU Spider-Man videos. But, and of course this video is going to be on that channel too. But that's insane. That was insane. And you know, the second post-credit scene, I was happy because, you know, it shows that Nick Fury and Maria Hill were secretly Talos and his wife from Captain Marvel, my favorite movie of all time. And I was so happy to see them because, you know, any Captain Marvel tie I can get in the Spider-Man franchise, I love to see. Because I would love for Spider-Man and Captain Marvel to have a team-up film. Marvel, write notes. But it also shows that Nick Fury is in space with the Skrulls. So how long Talos and his wife were in the roles of Nick Fury and Maria Hill, how much time they were in those roles, only time can really tell. But, you know, like, nothing compares to that first end credit scene, people. Nothing. Like, there's no, like, oh, people trying to find out his secret identity. No, everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Like, I don't know what my boy's gonna do, but it's gonna make for an interesting Spider-Man 3, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you right now, this film, like I said before, my favorite Spider-Man film, my second favorite film of all time, right up there with Captain Marvel, my second favorite MCU film, once again right up there with Captain Marvel, my second favorite Disney release of the year, right up there with Captain Marvel, and, you know, it's this movie's great. Go watch it. I'm not gonna talk about anything else here because everything else I will save for future videos. So yeah, go see this film. I'm SpiderFan 101 / Spider-Man 101 saying peace.